that I think about it, like looking back,
you wanted to take a look back. Yeah, you wanted to reel back, but
I know. I did
no argument for me.
No argument for me, man. I definitely asked for it.
This is an expose.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, you suck, and this is how.
There's a guy with a boom mic that comes around the corner.
That cameraman from like what was it? The Springfield or Jerry Springer show where they're like athletes and they run after people.
It's just like shaky cam.
He is not the father. They take off in like a 50-meter dash. The interviews for those had to be insane. Are you a sprinter?
And then Steve Wilkos would grab them in a chokehold,
throw a chair for some reason.
You're not getting away from me. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Something about your lunch.
Yeah. I don't know, something about his nose. You and your nose will not. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, lunch was fine. Middle school was great. I didn't go to the same high school as you two. I did not go I moved 10 minutes away, so I went to Bremen instead of Oak Forest.
I just want to interrupt because I just need to explain that chapter was really rough. Sorry to
no.
That chapter was awful because like at the time, right, like I was a kid that didn't know how to express himself, and so like bullying was like the only way I could let you know that I care about you in a weird way. And so like even to this day, bullying, and not just like me, but like my siblings too, like bullying is part of like I care about you. Like if I didn't like you, I would just not speak to you. Like
right.
And so is that healthy? No. And so like looking back at it now, right? Like I had to think about it, and I apologize to you profusely, even to this day, because like I can look back at that and go, we made his life absolutely miserable during those years, and turned
out all right. Look at me now,
crying in the corner. No, but to be fair, right? Like, yeah, no, I wasn't a good friend to you early on, and that's one of the things that like I've for the longest time wanted to repair and tried to do the best that I could, and as an adult to repair that. And I get it, we're all kids, and we just don't know any better. But Either way, you were a good friend to me throughout. And I do remember one time I asked you, I was like, Nick, why were you still friends with us then? You're like, because I didn't want to sit by myself.
That's the only reason. That's it. Well, because so not to undercut your very heartfelt message, which I love you, buddy, and I'm glad that as adults we can acknowledge that and still remain friends. But I remember very distinctly there was sort of like, as shady as it is to admit, there was like a popularity hierarchy. It kind of felt like, where like I imagine I was on like the bracket above like the kids who nobody wanted to sit with, but they sat with each other. And like, I'm not going to name names because like that's totally shitty and mean, and it doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah. But at the time, I was like, I don't want to be friends with those kids, because like, and I can't play the victim either. Like I bullied kids that I thought I could get away with bullying too, just because I feel like I also didn't really have a good way of expressing myself, and I didn't want to confront these feelings that I had with you guys, so I kind of just took it out on the kids that I thought were used to it, or however you want to think about it. But yeah, so I truly was like, it was a mix of, I'm genuinely friends with you guys. We have a lot of shared interests, even if a couple of them I was only interested in because you guys were interested in it, and I wanted to, like, I would not have listened to Metallica otherwise had it not been for you guys. Yeah, like going to your house and watching the music video DVDs, and
I was terrible at that, wasn't I? Just, hey, we're gonna watch this.
It was super often,
and nothing else.
It was super often. It was like 9 out of 10 sleepovers. It was like, we're gonna play Gears 2. I'm gonna snipe you 100 times in Gridlock, and not let you kill me. And then we're going to go to sleep watching the Metallica videos until that's over. And then I'll put on Nick at Night and then we'll fall asleep to George Lopez reruns.
Yep.
And, but through that, you know, now like Gears 2 is one of my favorite games ever. And Metallica was my favorite band for a really long time.
Yeah.
And when I started writing music, I thought that I had to write music like Metallica. And that's how deeply ingrained, you know, our friendship was for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't say this all the time, but whenever I talk about middle school, I always mention, from my perspective, I think us going to different high schools was probably the best thing for our friendship because it kind of forced both of us to grow apart from each other so that when we did hang out, we could respect one another's paths that we have, you know, both chosen and, you know, things out of our control. Like I didn't choose to move, but I did choose to start playing music and start doing theater and all of these things that I probably otherwise wouldn't have done had I not been on my own at a new school where I didn't know anybody. And, you know, I can't speak for any significant changes that you yourself made in your life, but I just know that when we came back together to hang out again, the dynamic was just, it was a lot healthier. It was a lot
for
better.
sure. Yeah.
And that, you know, carries into today as well, where, you know, like you mentioned at the top, we both have our different interests that don't really overlap, but we're still supportive of one another. And seeing how far we've come from you stealing my fruit snacks to now, you know, I get to be a part of your podcast. It's amazing and it's beautiful. And, you know, it reminds me of how amazing it is to be alive.
It's a full circle moment.